This is the Reds POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good evening, Reds fans, and welcome to another edition of the POSTCAST, brought to you by Locked On Reds and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm Tim Daniel. I'm a lifelong Cincinnati Reds fan. I've been covering the Reds for 5 years at publications such as Late Night Reds and the Riverfront. And I want to thank you all for joining me this wonderful Wednesday night as we finally get to discuss the Cincinnati Reds getting back in the win column with a 7-2 victory tonight over the Miami Marlins. And as it's already mentioned by West Coast Rob and Laura and Johnny and Lonnie, yes, once again, the Cincinnati Reds will not be swept. Thank you all so much for spending some time with me this evening. If you are joining me for the first time, welcome. It's so great to see you all here. You can also be sure to hit that notification button here on YouTube, where you can not only get my show after each and every Cincinnati Reds game, but you can get Jeff and Steve Monday through Friday on Locked On Reds. If you cannot follow us here on YouTube, you can go ahead and check us out on your podcast app of choice. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about the AllStars doing their thing tonight. Andrew Abbott obviously having an excellent game. We're going to talk about that. Elly De La Cruz, 2 big doubles today. Even better. Steve's in the chat tonight, so there's that. We got Pat in the chat. Dave's here. Everyone's fired up. And we're going to close the show with Noelvi, Marte, and Will Benson hitting some tanks. And there's Patrick. Patrick, I haven't seen you in a couple days, so I was really worried about you. All that and a whole lot more. Of course, I'm going to hear from you all as we discuss a fun night to be a Reds fan, finally, as it has not been very fun now for a couple days. Let's go ahead and get right to it, shall we?
This is what you'll be talking about.
How about Andrew Abbott tonight? Yesterday gets the news he's going to the AllStar game for the first time. I'm going to scoot back. I feel like everything's kind of out of range here. And tonight just dominates the fish. And I know some people want to look at the record and go, well, it's the Marlins. He should dominate them. He's an all-star. And you're correct. But also, we need to talk about the fact that the Marlins have been just smacking the Reds around for days. Did we finally have the thing where like it's reversed, when the Reds score a bunch of runs and you guys come in here and you come to me and you say like, Tim, tell them to save some runs for tomorrow. Did the Marlins have that moment where they scored so much yesterday they couldn't score today until the end of the game? I don't know. Here's to say, I don't care what it is. I will absolutely take it, Steve. Man. So yeah, it was really nice to see Andrew Abbott out there. Obviously just kind of dominant tonight. 7 2/3, 1 earned run, 6 hits, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. Didn't give up that earned run till his last batter of the game. And did everything he wanted to with the ball out there. Especially, I think what really jumped out the most is I was listening to the radio broadcast as I was getting my daughter down for the night. And what really kind of jumped out to me was Cowboy was kind of talking about, he's like, look, he had a really abbreviated outing his last start. And sometimes guys really bounce back really well from those. And he said 2 starts like that this year, 3 technically, where the next game he's pitched really well. So if you remember that Friday, start in Colorado, he only went like 4 innings. And then the next couple starts did really well. He had that Milwaukee game earlier in the year where he wasn't himself. I think he gave up 5 runs, but only 1 was earned and bounced back. And then obviously had that really rough outing in Philly where it wasn't the Andrew Abbott we've gotten to know. And the Reds did end up winning that game that he started there, which was the only one they had in Philly, and comes out tonight and does that. I mean, it's just tremendous to see what they're getting from him. And the fact that not only has he been, has he earned the right to be an all-star, and the fact that we're all trying to kind of just see what we're getting from him as the future. And of course, I know, it's obviously with the way they've played the last week, I know there's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of frustration. You get a night like tonight and you start to think to yourself, like, if they can click, something good can go their way. And I know I was just here last night ready to scream and yell and throw things. You saw Steve's comment about what they're doing, what's going on there as well. And, he had to have his rant to kind of say, like, you guys, it looked like you didn't have any effort yesterday. You guys didn't look like you care. And today they just kind of go out there and, they do their thing. And for him, it looked like the team just really bounced back to him, took his lead and followed along. And I think that's the thing that really jumped out the most to me about today's game was, he wasn't perfect by any means. I mean, he still did give up 6 hits, but he still found a way to get around everything. And he kept them out of the base pass. He kept them out of scoring position. So I think today the Marlins overall were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The one being that last hit before he got taken out of the game in the bottom of the 8th there. And he just kind of managed it on his own. So really nice to see Andrew Abbott have that game, get that bounce back. I was really hoping that when he left the game, he was still going to have that ERA under 2. He went into the 8th inning with a 1.99. He leads now with a 2.07. 2.07 is still pretty great. And I'm not a huge ERA guy by any means. I don't think it's the be-all, end-all that a lot of people like to use for reference. I think it could be misleading. 2.07 for him is not misleading. He's been way too good. And what they got from him tonight, excellent. You see, I know, Jason. I know. That I really like to see that. So Laura brings this up actually, and I wanted to mention this later in the show. And this is actually a really cool point. So she said, first thing I noticed, all the guys up on the rail again. They'd not been doing that as much. And it's really funny you say that, Laura. I don't know if you listened to the radio broadcast, but Wade Miley was back in the dugout tonight. Had not been with the team for a little while. And the one thing they kept mentioning in the radio broadcast, being Tommy and Cowboy, was, yes, they were up on the railing. And the 3 guys who were like showing having the most conversation were Wade Miley, Jose Trevino, and Chase Burns. So if you're Chase Burns, you're just getting so much knowledge there and so much that you can use for your next start. And just kind of see him that's got to be so big for that guy's maturation process. So I'm really glad you said that, Laura, because that was one of the things that really jumped out a lot from the radio broadcast. And I really like to hear that as well. And I know Jason says they're way too streaky offensively for him to believe. And you're not wrong. I mean, they're certainly way too streaky, especially the way they played for a week. They went 4 straight games where they scored. Well, yesterday they scored 2 runs, but the last one was at the end of the game. And then you see like they would take the lead in all these games and then just give it right away. So of course tonight when you see them kind of take take the early lead and you're like, oh, let's hope this doesn't happen again. I don't know. I've not been able to ever give up on Sandy Alcantara. I know what his numbers say, but I just still feel like he's really good, and it really frightens me. So every time he pitches against the Reds, I'm really nervous. But the last couple times the Reds have won against him, it was pretty good for our ball club. So this has been a lot of fun to see Abbott get at today, and the other AllStar did his thing tonight. Elly De La Cruz was Elly De La Cruz tonight. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? Nope. You called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. Do you juggle 2 phones just to keep business and personal calls separate? OpenPhone solved that instantly. Your whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this. And the AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads, so I never miss a customer again. I use OpenPhone quite a bit for my travel agent business. I have a lot of things I got to juggle there. So OpenPhone comes through very clutch for me. And for you, the listeners, I can assure you that if you are in the situation I'm in, this is the offer for you. OpenPhone is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Summer sports are in full swing. Whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. We all know I love FanDuel. I did use it today in the Indiana Fever game. I thought with Caitlin Clark coming back, it was going to be a big day for her. Didn't go my way. Fever lose by 19 at home to the Valkyries. Wasn't very fun, but the Reds made my night fun at least. But it's easy to use, it's fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the 9th inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. New to FanDuel, customers can just bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. What in the world happened? Well, my lights went out again, so that's pretty cool. So we're gonna jimmy it pretty badly here. And I'm gonna thank you all for joining me on the Reds postcast. Yeah, Tim After Dark, absolutely. And it's been really great to have you guys here. Like I said, thank you all so much for spending some time with me tonight. If you were just checking me out for the first time, you can be sure to hit that notification button where you can not only get my show after each and every game, but Jeff and Steve Monday through Friday on Locked On Reds. My ring light has been a pain in the buttocks of late, guys. I cannot figure out why it just shut off on me like that. But hey, we can at least have some fun and laugh about it, right? Let's see where this game kind of went in the Reds' favor, shall we?
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Should we do this number here? Like, a long time ago, the Cincinnati Reds played a baseball game. That's what we're going to get with my light here. Awesome. Really cool stuff here. So, and I just got a new webcam that doesn't have a ring light on it. So we're on a roll tonight. The turning point of this game, I had to go with Noelvi Marte getting that homer. And the thing I wanted to use the most here, we're going to get to Noelvi Marte's in a second, was because he really could have cost the game with that bad throw he had to Spencer Steer, as Spencer Steer put that hell of a tag down. So it was nice to see that Noelvi was able to bounce back and get that homer in. So absolutely take that every day of the week. I'm still trying to figure out this ring light thing. It overheated. It overheated, guys. That's what happened. Cool stuff. All right, so now that I'm throwing off my game, this is Elly De La Cruz tonight. Was also doing his all-star thing with not one, but two doubles, two RBI doubles at that, and came around the score run as well. So Elly De La Cruz, I kind of mentioned the other day, hadn't been hitting very well. So that was kind of frustrating to see what they were going through of late. But tonight had a nice bounce back game with those two hits and just managed to kind of control the offense, control the plate. This was really awesome to see. So when you have a game like that from Elly where in that middle of the order, and you can kind of see him just kind of handle the batter's box. He's so hard to beat, man. And even in his outs, like he had two really hard hit balls. His second at bat, he had that hard hit ball that went right to, who was Miami's first baseman too, Connor Wagaman, where he made a really nice catch. And then his second out as well later in the game was also pretty hard hit. But the two doubles where he made Marlins left fielder Hernandez look very silly was pretty hilarious. The first one when the ball goes over his head and hits the wall, and then the second one when he had to dive for it and couldn't get to it. So that was pretty funny as well. It looked like the good Elly De La Cruz. And it feels like when Elly and Friedel and McLean at the top of the order are having moments like this, the Reds can kind of keep rolling, and that's when the offense kind of gets going again. So if you can rely on those three guys to do what they did today, I mean, that's going to take the Reds a long way. So if you look at it, I mean, realistically, Elly gets on base with 2 hits. McLean has a hit and a walk, and Friedel has a hit and a walk. So 3 guys get on base 6 times. If your top 3 guys in your order are getting on base 6 times, you're probably winning a lot of games. So awesome to see the Reds top of the order do that tonight. Really big for them. And I think really contributed a whole lot to them kind of getting back at and getting a win, especially considering all 3 of those guys scored a run tonight. As a matter of fact, everyone in the starting lineup tonight had a hit. So that was pretty sweet. And Steve's literally on a plane right now from Hawaii to Cincinnati. So the fact that he's even here is pretty funny. Pierre says, thank goodness for Elly De La Cruz. I love it. So just a really fun day for Elly De La Cruz. Obviously, you can see that that's kind of what got a lot of spark going on. And a couple other guys had big moments today. Noelvi Marte with a homer and Will Benson with a homer as well. We're going to talk about that first, but we got to get to our Locked On player of the game.
This is the Locked On player of the game.
I cannot get over how ridiculous this show looks right now. I look like when they would do those like 60-minute segments where the guy wanted to be incognito and didn't want to talk, like didn't want his face shown. They would like muff his voice like this. That's what I feel like right now as I'm watching myself do this show. So the offense, like we said in the last segment, was really going tonight. And Noelvi Marte tonight was the other guy with the Reds who had 2 hits, including a huge homer for his 4th of the year. And it was really funny. So Steve's here. We can attest this. I'll go a little behind the curtain. So Steve, Jeff, and I, we have a text there. We kind of talk content. We talk during the game, just kind of see how everyone's feeling. Laura, this is a family show. And so Steve kind of texts something about like, oh man, Spencer Steer really just made the play of the game. There we go, iPad. Help me out here. Help a friend out. Where's the flashlight on the iPad? So the iPad's giving me a little light here. I like it. And you're like, oh boy, here we go again. It's going to be one of those days. And then literally the next, the Undertaker light effect, that's pretty funny. And then literally the next inning, Jeff goes, well, that's why you keep him around, because he hits the homer. So really nice to see that from him. And obviously the big 2 hits today. Noelvi Marte is just one of those guys you can't give up on. He just always finds a way to kind of keep you in the game and keep you rolling. And it's nice to see, because they're going to need that. We've seen third base just be so frustratingly confusing this year, between no one able to kind of make a full grasp on it, between obviously Candelario, who's now gone, CES, who probably shouldn't play third base again. Marte is probably your best candidate. Steer has a chance as well, obviously, but he's been so good at first base. I want to keep him there. So it's up to him. And then Will Benson. That was a tank job. That was beautiful. So Will Benson today, let's see, what was the exact, let me get the StatCast numbers on that real quick, because it was fantastic. 111 miles off the bat, 425 feet. And I mentioned Will Benson's name just now 3 times, and Patrick Cheeseman has not put a comment in the comment section during the chat. So we got to figure out what's going on there, Patrick. I thought you were president of the fan club. Yeah, that's what Jason says right here. Measuring tape. So, what's up, Dylan? Thanks for stopping by. I'm sorry you had to see that my light went out on me during the episode. So nice to see those guys kind of bring the power there. I think that's one of the biggest things the Reds were missing, was just, every time that they would score these 1-runs in these 1-run games they had of late would be a solo shot, and then that'll be it. From here, it seems like they're getting from here, you've got 2 homers tonight, and you saw the offense just kind of pass the bat around. And that's what you really want to see from this team as we move forward. And I absolutely love it. And I have no idea what we're going to get from Noelvi Marte, but I'm here with Pierre. I want him in the lineup every day, because I feel like he's giving them the best chance. Josh, you're right. He did get close to the Tundra sign. So we will go ahead and we'll put a bow on this one, as the Reds have a chance to split the series tomorrow. But tonight, they are winners over the Miami Marlins to get to 47-46 with 7 runs on 11 hits and no errors. The Miami Marlins today, 2 runs on 7 hits, no errors. Your winning pitcher tonight is Andrew Abbott. He is now 8-1. Your losing pitcher is Sandy Alcantara. He is now 4-9 and has a 7.22 ERA. And friendly reminder, tomorrow's game starts a little early, as they will start at 5:10. So I'll be on probably about 7:38-ish for those of you who are not going to the concert. No, Nick Lodolo takes the hill for the Reds. He is 5-6 with a 3.58 ERA. He'll be going against Cal Quantrill. The Marlins, he is 3-7 with a 5.40. So I'll be here in the early evening tomorrow night. I'm Tim Daniel. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me as all this happened. Gotta love technology and live shows. Be sure to check out Jeff and Steve on Locked On Reds as well. Have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.